Number 12, Faith in a 45. With a vibe that totally reminded us no one lives forever, Faith in a 45 not only has a catchy title, but a brilliant co-op concept that caught our attention. You play as Ruby and Luke, action heroes, and love interests, who are on the run from a crazy oil baron during the Great Depression, and much of the appeal of the title was how the players could be switched between. Also, we are reportedly an option to provide the kiss of life to your wounded lover, and relatively simple concept that gives an ingenious little spin. However, it went down the tube when Deadline Games suffered financial issues and dragged the game down into the abyss. Number 11, 6 Days in Falacci. Politically correctness has ruined a lot of things. One of them was 6 Days in Falacci, a promising-looking wartime shooter that prided itself on the fact that not only was it taken from a real conflict, but essentially taking from one that was still going on during its development, a first in history of gaming. However, after a massive public outrage, with a lot of UK newspapers wheeling out war veterans to declare how tasteless the game was, despite of never playing the game or any awareness of its content, the game was quietly cancelled by Konami. It was an intriguing sounding game because it offered the player a level of choice and really immersed us in the unpleasant experience of going to war. We had a decision whether to kill a suspect, let them go, or whether to help the local village or round them up and take them into custody. The developers interviewed over 70 war veterans, so clearly did their homework. It's just a shame that another useless moral outrage sparked a PR cleanup at Konami and ruined what could have been a very special game indeed. Apparently, by 2010, the game was actually completed, so it was just sitting around on a hard drive somewhere, and just a few months ago, it was said that the game definitely isn't canceled. But this is difficult to believe, given the time window since the scandal. Number 10, Sonic Xtreme. The Sega Saturn, released in 1995, was the first home console from Sega without a Sonic the Hedgehog game attached to the launch. The fully 3D Sonic Xtreme was slated for release for Christmas 1996, but when the game's designer and developer couldn't hit the target date, Sega eventually canceled the game. There was only a small handful of Sonic games released during the short lifespan of the Sega Saturn, including Sonic Jam and Sonic 3D Blast. Sega discontinued the Saturn in 1998, only 3 years after the initial US release, but fans would finally get a full 3D Sonic video game they had been waiting for with the release of Sega Dreamcast and Sonic Adventures 1998. Number 9, Dead Phoenix. Dead Phoenix is one of the 5 exclusive titles dubbed the Capcom 5 that the company developed for Nintendo GameCube and announced in late 2002. The 3D shoot-'em game centered on the winged man named Phoenix and was set in a fantasy land full of dragons, monsters, and mystical floating cities. Although Capcom released the other 4 games in the Capcom 5, the company canceled Dead Phoenix in 2003 due to development issues and Nintendo's high standards of excellence. Number 8, The California Raisins, The Grape Escape. In the 1980s, the California Raisins were the center of pop culture. The fictional band of Raisins had an Emmy Award-winning TV special and an animated series, along with hit songs and commercials on behalf of the California Raisin Advisory Board. In the 1990s, Capcom developed a single-player, side-scrolling video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES. The gameplay was very similar to Disney's DuckTales video game, and retailers were ready for a bestseller. But Capcom canceled the video game weeks before the release date due to the California Raisins' dwindling popularity. Number 7, Sadness. In 2006, Polish video game developers Nimbus and the video game studio Frontline announced that the survival horror game Sadness would be one of the early release titles for the Nintendo Wii. The proposed game would have a black and white aesthetic, play on physiological horror rather than jump scares and gore, and would fully utilize the Nintendo Wii Remote. Nimbus parted ways with Frontline in 2007 because of artistic differences. A script, concept art, soundtrack, and live-action trailer were the only products, but the final nail in the video game coffin would be when Nimbus shut down completely in 2010. Number 6, BC. First announced in 2001, BC was an action-adventure video game developed by Intrepid Computer Entertainment for Microsoft Xbox. The game took place during the prehistoric era and followed a small tribe on the brink of extinction. Players would control the tribe and make it evolve, migrate, and survive against dinosaurs and other prehistoric beasts to be the most dominant species on the planet. Although enthusiasm was very high, Microsoft canceled the prehistoric video game in late 2004, several months after BC first trailer was released. While Microsoft didn't comment about why the game was canceled, video game designer Peter M. was quoted saying Lionhead had to focus on either BC or a video game called Fable. We cannot do both simultaneously. It would just be impossible for us to maintain the quality in it all. He said, so many people ask about it. I find it absolutely fascinating that they do, because some of the people here at Microsoft, we just don't quite understand what the BC game is all about. Number 5. Super Mario's Wacky World. In 1991, Nintendo had a partnership with Philips Electronics to develop a CD-based add-on for the Super Nintendo. Needing a hit video game to sell more consoles, Philips considered Super Mario's Wacky World in 1993. The game took place on Earth rather than the Mushroom Kingdom, and promised to be a sequel to the classic video game Super Mario World. But Wacky World was cancelled after poor sales on the Philips CDI video gaming console. Number 4. Star Wars 1313. In May 2012, LucasArts announced a new Star Wars game that would be a more mature, gritty take on a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars 1313 promised a third-person action-adventure game that would center on the bounty hunter Boba Fett as he rose to power in a speedy underbelly of the urban planet Coruscant. But in October 2012, the Walt Disney Corporation acquired Lucasfilms and its subsidiaries $4.05 billion. In April 2013, Disney shut down Lucas and canceled all the video games in its development, including Star Wars 1313. Number 3. Mega Man Universe. In 2010, Capcom announced that it would release Mega Man Universe for the PlayStation Network. The company promised that the new video game would have similar gameplay to Mega Man 2 and would give players the ability to customize their own levels and stages. But a few months later, Capcom canceled the game and apologized to the Mega Man fans who were anticipating the new release. Capcom did not disclose a specific reason why they canceled Mega Man, instead citing various circumstances. If Mega Man Universe had actually been released, it would have been the first time he was called Mega Man in his native Japan. Historically, the character was called Rockman, but was changed when the video game was imported to the United States. Number 2. LMNO. There was a lot of excitement when Steven Spielberg was reported to have signed a deal with EA in 2005 to develop 3 games. The most impressive looking was LMNO, a science fiction adventure which saw a former special agent team up with a mysterious alien-looking character whose name was Evie. Brief concept clips have surfaced online, again demonstrating the cinematic appeal and clear influence of Steven Spielberg's films in its concept and execution. However, the game was cancelled in late 2005, with its gameplay reportedly mixing parkour-type movement into things. It could have been similar to Mirror's Edge, but of course, we'll never know. And finally, number 1, Thrill Kill. Thrill Kill is one of the few games on the list that is actually pretty easy to get a hold of, because disgruntled employees leaked nearly complete versions of it online not long after the game was shelved. With EA claiming that the game was senseless violence, EA didn't have a good decency to allow other publishers to purchase the game, meaning the title, merely a few weeks away from being shipped, was left to rot, not for the savvy employee who at least allowed us to take a look at their good work. And what a game it was. Anyone with access to Bleem could give Thrill Kill a whirl. And though rough around the edges, it was fiendishly entertaining little beat-em-up game, which you largely ran around dressed in a BDSM outfit, beating the living crap out of pretty much anything that will move. While it was easy to see why EA objected to the product as it stands, there is absolutely nothing else out there like it.